This is my first video update coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus on this Saturday, Christmas Eve. Let's talk about some news. And so we have the breaking news, kind of breaking news, that the Russian military has captured the town of Andreevka. And this is in the Bakhmut region. It is just south of Bakhmut. This has been confirmed by Ukrainian sources. So it's the Ukrainian sources saying that the Russian military has now taken control of this area, this village. Let's call it this village. And if you look at a map, and I'll put a map on the screen right now. So if you look at a map, you see Andreevka to the south of Bakhmut. You see Soledar to the north of Bakhmut. And my question is to the military experts who are watching this channel and following this channel. What does this look like to you? Is the Russian military, are they going to eventually close the circle, and are we going to get a kind of a rerun of Mariupol, a repeat of Mariupol, where the Russians surrounded the city and then choked it? Is that what's going to be happening? Or are the Russians going to keep this kind of half circle, this mouth, this filter opening in Bakhmut, and they're just going to continue to allow the Belensky regime to pour more and more military and more resources into Bakhmut, where they will be easily annihilated by the Russians? Let me know what you think down below. So that's the big news with regards to the fighting in Ukraine. We also have this Wall Street Journal article that came out last week, which talked about a 10-point peace plan that the Belensky regime is preparing. And a lot of people were retweeting this Wall Street Journal article, and a lot of Telegram posts about this Wall Street Journal article, saying that Kiev is ready for peace and they're preparing a 10-point peace plan. I read the Wall Street Journal article, and it has very little to do with peace, if anything. It pretty much talks about escalation, and it discusses how Belensky and Biden should continue to escalate and to continue to extend this conflict with Russia. And it's only through escalation. In the Wall Street Journal article, they claim that it's only through escalation that eventually the Belensky regime will be able to exert leverage over Russia and then present this 10-point peace plan. That's where the actual peace plan fits in to this to the analysis in this article. Escalate, and then with significant victories and Russia suffering major defeats, the Belensky regime can put this 10-point peace plan on the table, and you force Russia to accept it. That's pretty much the Wall Street Journal article. Actually, let me read you the last two paragraphs so you can get a sense as to what the Wall Street Journal is reporting on. So the entire article talks about the Biden White House and the Belensky regime escalating. That's pretty much the whole article. And then you get to the final couple of paragraphs, and the Wall Street Journal says this: amid all the talk of fighting and weapons, Mr. Belensky dangled hope of negotiations. The Ukrainian president's talk Thursday of a peace formula follows recent discussion by Kiev of a 10-point peace plan. Mr. Belensky's team is currently fleshing out the plan and aims to present its ideas on or around the first anniversary of Russia's February 24th invasion, according to European and Ukrainian diplomats. U.S., Ukrainian, and NATO officials have said that Ukraine's bargaining position at any eventual talks where it is likely to demand significant concessions from Moscow will depend on its battlefield position, and so Kiev wants to prepare for potential peace talks by achieving military victories. That's the key right there. By achieving military victories, by escalation, from now until February 24th, achieve these big military victories, whatever they are. And I'll discuss a couple of options that the Ukraine military has, if you can call them options, military options. But by achieving these victories, then you can take these 10 points that the Belensky regime, along with their European partners, that's what the Wall Street Journal article says, along with their European partners, is preparing, which basically means that the collective West is preparing this 10-point peace plan, peace formula. It's all being scripted by the collective West. And so what's going to be in this peace formula? Well, I think we already know what the Belensky regime is going to present to Russia on February 24th. And this is if Russia doesn't make significant gains up until February 24th, and if the Belensky regime, if the Ukraine military manages to achieve significant victories in Ukraine. If this does happen from now until February 24th, then they're going to present Russia with a peace plan, which is going to say Russia needs to return to, I won't even say February 23rd borders. They're going to say Russia has to return to 1991 boundaries. They have to give up Crimea, reparations, 700 trillion in reconstruction. They're going to talk about tribunals and maybe even say that the Putin government needs to step down. Who knows? But it's going to be stuff like this, stuff that the Russian government is going to say, get out of here. And I'll even say this. Even if Ukraine does not achieve significant military victories from now until February 24th, they're still going to put this peace plan out there. Because the fact that they're preparing this on what would be the 1-year anniversary of this conflict shows that this is more of a PR media stunt than anything else. And they know that Russia is going to reject whatever types of conditions Ukraine is going to present to the Kremlin. They know that Russia is going to reject it, but the fact that they're planning all of this for February 24th means that they're already looking at this as more of a PR media stunt than an actual effort to stop the conflict. And of course, all of this hinges on the fact that Russia is not going to make any gains from now until February 24th. So if Russia doesn't do anything from now until February 24th, then you're going to see this peace plan, put out there. So that is the Wall Street Journal article. Nothing to do with peace and everything to do with negotiation, with escalation and extending the conflict and stuff like that. So let's talk about Clown World. Let's do two clown worlds here. One clown world, but two different situations. And actually, before I get to the clown world, let me just mention that both Mark Rutte and an EU commissioner by the name of, and let me pull it up here, Virginijus Sinkevicius. He is the EU's Environment Commissioner. They have both stated that the European Union has reached the end of its sanctions options with regards to Russia. They've reached their limit. Both Mark Rutte, the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, and this EU Commissioner have said this 9th sanctions package, that's it. We don't have anything more to throw at Russia. So a 10th sanctions package, perhaps, but everyone's kind of scratching their head wondering, would a 10th sanctions package have? What could you possibly put in another sanctions package? So I thought I would just throw that out there. The EU is completely tapped out. Oil price caps, gas price caps. They've got no more No more ammo in the sanctions gun left. So let's do two clown worlds. One clown world, but two different narratives. We have from the United States, U.S. Senate authorizes the confiscation of Russian assets. The U.S. Senate has greenlit legislation authorizing the administration of President Joe Biden to seize the American assets of Russian officials, businessmen, and entities, and send the proceeds to Ukraine. South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said the change in the law would raise billions of dollars for Kiev. So that's the first part of this two-part clown world. And we have in Canada set to seize Abramovich's assets. Canada intends to arrest and confiscate $26 million from the sanctioned company Granite Capital Holdings, owned by Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich, the Canadian Foreign Ministry announced on Monday. Canada, along with the EU and the UK, imposed sanctions on Abramovich shortly after the conflict in Ukraine began in late February. It is the first time Ottawa will be using its new legislation, the Special Economic Measures Regulations, which allows the country's government to confiscate the sanctioned assets of blacklisted individuals by a court order. Now, these are clown worlds. This is a clown world, but this is a terrifying, an absolutely terrifying development. Basically, what you are seeing is the United States and Canada authorizing the confiscation of assets, of individuals, of business people, of entities. They are authorizing the outright confiscation of these assets. And right now they are directing it at Abramovich or Russian business people and entities. But we all know that when this conflict is over and everybody moves on, these laws, these policies will remain, and the United States and Canada and the collective West, they're just going to remove Russia from these policies, and it's just going to become a general confiscation of assets of anybody, any people, any entities that dare question their power. That is exactly what they are lining up to do. So anybody that is cheering this latest legislation, whether it's the confiscation of Abramovich's assets, or whether it's what Senator Lindsey Graham and the U.S. Senate has put into this latest spending bill, allowing the U.S. government to confiscate Russian assets. Anyone that cheers this on, you are just cheering on your own demise, because the governments of the collective West, they are going to use this against their own citizens sooner or later. Anyway, that is the video, everybody. theduran.locals.com. Look for us on Rockfin as well, and go to the Duran shop. 10% off. Wait, I'm doubling my Duran gear today. 10% off. Use the code GOODDAY. Take care.